Maybe first a small announcement. We're going to make a slight change in the afternoon program because otherwise it's getting really too heavy. Means that we're going to do the product development stuff from now until 2:30. So not until 3, only 2:30. And we have a small break, half an hour, from 2:30 till 3. So we restart again at 3 and we try to finish at 5.
Okay.
So that's going to give you guys, the dinner stays the same, departure from the lobby at 7. But that means that you're going to have 2 hours to pick up with your emails or to take a nap or whatever is necessary. So we finish at 5 and we meet again downstairs at 7. Yeah. For tomorrow morning, the people joining on the yacht, please try to be in time. Because if we are delaying already in the morning, there are people taking their planes immediately after we come back from the boat. And it's already tight for them. So try to be, what time was it tomorrow morning? 10. 10? No, 10. Try to be downstairs late at 10:30. Otherwise we're really going to delay and then those people are going to get in trouble. Okay, for the next part we have foreseen something about product development 2013, what we have done this year and what we are still doing for the upcoming 2 months. We're going to do this together with Ken. Ken is our senior design engineer and responsible for all the designs, what you have been seeing on our website and all the new stuff what's here. First we're going to look a little bit back to what we have been doing in the beginning of the year. And the first family of products we would like to introduce are a few special pin fins. We had already some pin fins, but without any mounting holes in it, just like a kind of a platform, which you can modify later, or we can modify them during mass production, with mounting patterns. But we have 3 very specific ones. The LPF 6050, 8050 and 11180, which we launched a few weeks ago, which we would like to explain a little bit more in detail.
I'm just going to pass this down to everyone so you guys can have a look.
Yep.
We should have seen it. We haven't seen it.
And if you guys have any questions during this session, you can just always bring this up. Okay.
Yeah, make it interactive indeed. We don't want to do a presentation.
I don't know how many of you have seen our goods. This one is LPF 6050-ZHC. Does anyone of you know what ZHC means? Yes, and
ZH is like that, yeah.
what's C? Cylinder, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So on this heatsink, you can see there are quite some holes already tagged on that. I think you can see, you can't see it from the printout because it's dark, but you will see it on the heatsink itself. In the very beginning, we only had 7 holes because you need 2 tagged holes for Citizen. And this one is actually for Citizen's CLL020. Now it's called 022. Okay. You need 2 and 3 tagged holes on that. And then on the outer side, there you see a bigger hole, that's the cable hole. Yeah. After you solder the wires, you can just use the hole for the cables to go through. Okay, and yeah, you see also quite some holes next to those holes made for Citizen. These are actually like holes for holders. Yeah, because in the beginning we also designed in the TE holders. TE holders. Has anyone of you actually seen a TE holder? It comes in 1 piece and 2 pieces design. I think I have a sample right there.
That was the first holder before they started to make all these Zyga holders, which Tyco made already about 2 or 3 years ago. Still quite popular. Tyco still sells around 3 to 4 million pieces per year of this holder. And it's like kind of rescalable.
The one I'm having on my hand is a holder from Tyco. This one's a 1-piece holder. But the problem with this holder is that you need 2 tagged holes to secure the holders, and also need 2 tagged holes. I mean not tagged, just a hole for putting the studs of these holders in as a fixation point. Yeah, that's why we have so many holes that heatsink. And at some point of, at some stage, Edison kicked in, right? And then we decided to make extra holes for Edison's, ADX. So,
Yep.
yeah.
The ADX itself is Zaga Book 3, so that's just using the Zaga holes. But Edison also has this option, a kind of mounting ring, where it's just a metal plate. Where if you put this metal plate actually on top of the module, then you can automatically have a clicking system for about 20 different reflectors.
Can you repeat it?
Yeah. I can maybe show you from, do we have ADX?
ADX.
Yeah, but it's hot, I think.
It's very hot.
Do you remember Philips, the 40 mode? 40 mode generation 1 was not Zaga. 40 mode generation 1 had 3 mounting holes in a star shape. That's 40 mode generation 1 actually has created, again, that some other brand names are doing the same thing. These 3 holes. On Edison, on the ADX, they kept all these holes. They added the 2 Zaga holes, and they kept the 3 holes actually, which were there, the old standard from 40 mode. You can do a lot of stuff with that. Means sometimes just 2 holes is also not good for thermal pressure. If you put 2 holes and you screw too much, actually your module is going to do that. The 3 holes is a more secure fixation actually than the 2 holes. But you can also use it in another way, that, like they do, that you just use, for example, the 2 holes for Zaga, and the 3 holes, they made this little accessory, a little metal ring. I can maybe show it from the website, it's easy. It's just a small metal ring with 3 small fixations sticking up, and on these 3 fixation points you can click all the reflectors.
Oh, fixation point for the reflectors.
Okay, here you see the mounting holes. This is Zaga Book 3. And then you see the 3 other holes here. Also on the 40 mode, they are still there. These 3 holes.
Okay.
And then,
for your reflectors.
voilà. Here you have the ring. It's just a stamped part with 3 small edges sticking up. And in the reflector, actually, you have the counterpart, and you just click. And that's it.
Is that a standard, the counterpart, the lens makers, do they follow that?
Yeah. Not all lens makers, but there are quite some lenses available on that clicking system.
That's part of Zaga, or
No, nothing to do with Zaga.
just a few companies follow this?
Yeah. That system already existed before Zaga,
No.
and it's now readapted. Because a lot of LED modules what you find on the market, it's really not easy for small quantities. For high quantities, you can glue them or whatever, or you can make specific fixation. But for small quantities, it's quite hard to make an easy assembly. And this is actually pretty easy. There is actually something totally new, what you just found out. Were you able to bring? Were you able to bring the new one with the click system?
BGB, I think.
Sorry, like this time we do not have enough sample for
No problem. I can show you from. You can also see it in Hong Kong. Another way is like this. This is the HM, so same like the CLL 020. This is CLL 030. BGB has made these holders. Zaga holders which fit over it, and now Edison in this case, they developed a kind of clip what fits here again to use exactly the same reflectors. This is the new ring which was developed that actually clicks just on the plastic holder and uses the same screws of the Zaga screws to mount everything together. And again, you can put all the different reflectors, the old reflectors on it. So the same approach, but in the Edelx it was integrated. In this one it goes as a separate small unit on the BGB holders.
Back to our heatsink. I think Edison's got quite a few samples from us, the LTF 6050s and also the 8050s. Do you know the RTH of this heatsink?
I'm sorry, which one?
The one you're holding now. Yeah, the RTH of this heatsink.
So,
Any ideas? Like wild case?
no, sorry.
I think about 12 watts, right? 12 to 15 watts.
Yeah, the RTH of the smallest one is around
That's 4.
4. Yeah, that correct. 4 degrees Celsius per watt. What does this mean?
Every watt increase delta T is 4 degrees.
So what can we cool down if we think in a practical way? Suppose it's in the ceiling, 40 degree. Manufacturer says, Citizen says TC 80. So we have 40 degrees left from the 40 ambient to the 80 TC. So then we can do 10 watts. That's not 10 watts electrical, that's 10 watts cooling, totally different. 10 watts electrical is about 14, approximately 14 watts. 10 watts cooling is approximately 14 watts electrical. So with the current lumens per watt, we say it's something from 600 to 1700 lumens. That's the kind of figure.
And it was only after we have given the name ZXC to find out Edison's modules actually fit on that. It's actually the same sizes. So, but we didn't change the name anyway. And later in the stage, we found out other brands also have the same size. That's ProLite. I'm sure most of you have heard of ProLite before. And it's ProLite's PACB and yeah, Edison and Citizen.
So on the same pattern, actually, those 3 brand series all fit on it.
Yeah, that's right. And like you saw in the part number 60, refers to the diameter of the base. Yeah. And 50 is just the total height. Yeah. And the bigger one, who's got the bigger one? The 8050s.
Oh, somebody is collecting everything over here. That's so bad.
I'm not a name.
80?
It's the idea.
Yeah. Same idea. It's just we increase the base to 80, the diameter of the base to 80, and the height stays the same. Yeah. But this one has got an RTH of 2.34. So better RTH. And also you can see like also the 3 types of COBs which you can also put on our heatsink. That's Edison's 80 power 2. I think that comes in 16 and how many watts?
30.
30, yeah, 16 and 30.
For the 30, don't use it.
5 watts, 9 watts, 16, 30, and 40 watts for the HM series.
All right, okay, yeah. But for this size, it's only 16 and 30, right?
The size?
Yeah, the one you had comparable to Citizen's 032. It's 16 and
The
30.
size compared with 020, 040, and 020, 030, 040.
So this is the 0.
3, 0. Yeah.
But cooling wise, you have to take it here in, let's say, up to about reasonable 2300 lumen. That's a little bit platform. And again, the same holders, but it's a different article number from Tyco, also fits on it.
Okay, and that's the more powerful one. It's LTF 11180 ZHE. Yeah, we finally decided to put E instead of C. This one's got an RTH of, do you want to take a case? The RTH of this heatsink. It's quite big. The diameter is 111 and the total height is 80 millimeters. So what sort of RTH range do you think it falls in? Any guess? Alright, the answer is 1.07.
Yeah. So 1 watt, 1 degree Celsius per watt, raising up, so 30, 40 watts cooling. That's about the capacity here.
And with this heatsink, you can also use Edison's reflector ring. So you first mount 2 screws to fit the COP as sort of standard, 2 entries on diameter of 35 millimeters. And after you place the COP and secure it, you can also like mount the rings, reflector rings. And that's also 3 entries on diameter of 42.
I think if you compare the 111 to the 80 and the 60, you can immediately see that the design is completely different with regards to pin setting. There's a very specific reason for that. To make a pin fin like this, you need a quite expensive machine. This is made by cold forging. So actually it's cold aluminium, which is then deformed without melting the aluminium to a certain shape. So for a big bastard like this, you need a machine which is approximately something from the wall to here, with an awful lot of power, with 800 tons of power to deform it. To make that automatically a machine like this, the downwriting cost is pretty high. And we knew already in the beginning that the final result is the same cooling like a module at 980. But this thing is a simple extrusion, costs nothing, almost nothing. Have to be careful. We knew already this thing was going to be double price, so we had to make certain economical reason to make this. And that's actually in this pin setting. This is actually co-developed with Ciccato. The engineer, the thermal engineer from Ciccato came up with this special directions of the fins, and that gives a much better result than the other ones, than the 60 and the 80 when you tilt. So the whole idea behind this pin fin heatsink is to make it even work better. The other ones already work better than an extrusion when you do that, but this one has an optimal performance when you do that. Just like this, it does exactly the same like this one, but when you start doing that one, but I don't want to say so much because that's your stuff for later. So, but then the idea together with Ciccato came from to make this. So price-wise, don't try to sell it for a simple vertical application, or there are customers there. We had one, he is making a very simple vertical downlight for 3000 lumen, but he wants to have this because he thinks it's nicer looking, and he said, I gotta sell better to my customers, because this was more like everybody had on the market. Then also you see this, side holes, standard made, just for the simple reason that it's a kilo of aluminium. It has to be really fixed anyway in the enclosure. So otherwise our customers anyway would have drilled some extra holes. So we have foreseen already some mounting holes that they can use this ones for the lighting fixture.
So you don't have any plan for side hole for holding or big strip? I mean, in smaller size, need the kind of hole.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
As standard.
as a standard.
Yes.
It also costs money.
Oh.
Yeah, but it
This is done by
it's
CNC.
more expensive to do that. I think the customer has to do it anyway.
Yeah, not all of them. I've seen a lot of applications with the pin fins actually, where the people are actually using the holes what they don't need. For example, they only need the holes for Zaga, or they only need the citizen holes, and then they use the 3 outer holes or something to fix it.
But it
Depends.
But it looks, I mean, yeah, if it's, you can see this part, the fixing is coming out, so it's not
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
nice rather than here you don't.
We learn every month with every new design, but it's sometimes difficult to turn it back while we still have all these molds and all this stock.
Yeah.
We have to think indeed a little bit more about integration and mechanical options in the future. It's not just tooling, and it's not just the LED mounting.
And also one hole to cut the cables, the wires cutting is always a good idea. To have the hole to cut the wires.
As a
Yeah.
standard, as a standard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's
is.
standard.
Also the wires coming up through here.
Yeah, it
So
doesn't
you
work.
see it don't look very
Yeah.
nice.
We have been experimenting a little bit with actually making a bigger pin instead of a hole and making the pin hollow to put the wire through. Then the wire is not floating later between the pins, but that's for the future. only 2013 now.
Are the pins glue or something, or is just only one piece of metal?
That's one piece of metal. You see similar kind of constructions where they are actually made from two parts,
Yeah.
but then you have two parts which actually lose heat through the interface. This is a one-part forging. Also, I know that there are some pin fins in the market which are slightly cheaper. They are not the same. First of all, there is a reason why our pins are standing a little further from each other. The pin fins, what you for example see from Koen, I think. Is it Koen with this pin fin blocks? I think so. They were actually designed for active cooling, not for passive cooling. Their pins are bigger and they're standing much denser to each other. Looks the same, cooling performance totally different. Those pins are so close to each other that without airflow, it's just a block of aluminium. And the air doesn't go through and you don't have free air convection.
So it's more aesthetic than the
Yeah, but some customers ask how many pins you have. They think that the more you have, it's better.
$1 per pin.
I'll just give you one.
How many LED coolers do we see recently on the internet where all these fins are standing like 1 millimeter from each other? These are bloody CPU coolers where they throw away the fan. They all come from China. They were developed 100 years ago to cool BGAs or CPU coolers for computers. And then they just throw away the fan and they think it's a good cooler. No way, it doesn't work. It's just a piece of aluminium and it's too close together, so it doesn't cool. Yeah. Okay. Any questions for the 111?
Okay, this is not only for this but for generally. Of course, you have electroplated black or anodized on the top. Anodizing is basically not a good conductor of heat. So, would you leave a space where you directly get in touch with the metal body than the anodized body? Are we not introducing another thermal
Do you think it's going to be a big difference?
What do you think?
Sorry?
I didn't.
He says anodizing is not a good conductor.
So once you anodize, it's not a good conductor. So is it good to leave a space out so that the metal can directly get in touch? Because I had a similar model earlier, but the manufacturer used to leave it blank so that it gets through, and it had a.
For there, no, the thickness is so thin, it's just a few microns. It doesn't take. If you compare the thickness of an anodization layer with respect to the thermal phase.
When it comes to 30-40 watts. For smaller ones are okay, but now we are, when it comes to fan and all that, we are nearly keeping 100 watts on it.
For an active cooler, actually, there is no difference at all.
No, the heat has to come to that, out of the thing through that.
Yeah.
Failure, no?
The conduction part. You have conduction, then convection.
Convection is where the.
You're talking about conduction part.
Yeah, pure conduction.
If the power really goes up and it becomes really concentrated, then it can become critical.
Yeah, we're talking about 100. We distribute citizens, so there is a.
But
I worry about that. We don't talk anything below 50 watts.
But if you look to the resistance of the interface layer, that's already so much more than the thin anodization layer which is there.
Yeah, here you're going to maybe talk about 0.01 degrees Celsius per watt, while the interface or the thermal interface material on the phase change or the grease what you use, then we speak about 0.1. That's a tenfold of.
I agree. If the power really goes up, then it can become really interesting. But you then don't cool it with natural convection anymore. You have to go to forced convection or liquid cooling.
Okay, this is one. The other one is, the LEDs. As we increase the power, we have to build up more dies in series. So the voltage VF starts building up. So because the VF build up, what happens? You're crossing the limit of 60 volts. When you cross the 60 volt limit in the luminaire, there is a problem that you need to have a 3 mm gap between solder point to the body.
Yeah.
And then this gap needs a stage to sit. And are you going into such a thing?
Then our customers are using an isolator pad actually. For you spoke about the withstand voltage.
Then that's the only way to.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's
You
what
see
they
more
do.
and more LED modules. For example, the new Vossloh Schwabe Luga Industrial, the big one we will demonstrate later. 10,000 lumen, 700 milliamps only. So you can imagine what the voltage is. That's 150 volts over the European and the worldwide safety standards, which is around 60 volts, I think.
Yeah.
Once you go over the 60, you have to isolate. Only way to do this is like with special material, but it's expensive because it has to isolate for electronic, for voltage, and it has to conduct very well for this power stuff. So then you get the niche material from there, and we like to sell that because it's expensive.
But anodization is already an isolator.
Not enough, not enough.
Not enough.
Not enough.
Yeah.
Not even
High
close.
high point maybe.
Not even close.
Oh, you can have hard end.
No, no, that's
That
okay.
becomes really costly.
Alright, okay. Around this year, May or June, we looked back into our designs and we saw this forged heatsink, and we saw like why are there so many holes on one heatsink? It increases cost on this product, and it only puts on only a certain amount of COBs are suitable for this one. So Koen had an idea. We just took all the COBs from the market and we started them a bit, and then we combine everything onto this thing called modulate. Okay. Pass this down.
I should say that is a very brilliant idea. The design is really good.
It's great.
Very unique.
I'm sure quite some of you have bought our modulating quite a bit quantity. Okay, this series comes in two heights. The first one is 9950, that means the diameter is 99 and height is 50. And yeah, we got a longer version of 80. Okay. It's a passive cooling, which you can also mount. We've listed some difference on the screen. It's Bridgelock's RS. Also Citizen. For Citizen, you can mount Citizens 0, 30, 40, and 50. Okay. And surely you can mount Citizen, you can also mount Edison because these two are compatible. Right? Okay. And
Also
then provide.
Ciccato indeed.
That's how.
Ciccato was our first eco-partner. It's thanks to Ciccato 2 years ago. They came up to us. They had some problem with the Chinese supplier. All the molds were already made. They said, guys, if you want, you can get on all our designs and you just make them. That's how it started. So also Ciccato is on most of our heatsinks. Ciccato has 3 mounting points. These are those typical metal, aluminium modules with the 3 mounting points.
And the RTH for this shorter version, 9950, is around. Does anybody want to guess?
Come on, guys. You have to feel it. If you look to a heatsink, you have to say that's a 2, that's a 1.4, that's a 1.
This one is 1.34.
MechaTronix employees are there, no?
The RTH for this shorter version is 1.34. While for the longer one, the 9980 is 1.02, which performs almost the same as the one you just saw, the LPF, the big one.
Yeah. Besides of the modular concept, what we had in our ideas, there was also the idea of let's make something what first of all fits with a lot of brands, that saves cost, also to your customers, because a lot of those customers, they are not married to one brand. More and more, the people start to know the markets and what's available on the market. And for example, there are big customer from Philips with their Fortimo, and tomorrow they have a big project and they need 16,000 pieces, and they find out that they have to wait for 4 months. Do you know what they do? They just take something else with the same lumen and color and try to fix it on. And we have more and more customers who say, guys, we really love your modulates only for one reason. Because if we integrate that in our design, we are never fucked up. If something happens and we can't get the LED modules, we just buy something else what fits on it. And what is having even another design pattern or another mounting pattern, it still fits. The other idea was, it's easy to copy. So what we have to do is produce as much high quantities as we can to make sure the competition can't get up. So by doing that, we are able to do a lot of designs. Just to give you a rough idea, in the first 6 months, there were about 250 designs made already, which are already in mass production at the moment, only on the modulate. So the quantities are going up and up and up. and the competition can't get it anymore. They can always, it's always dangerous as well.
Yeah, and also on top of that, you can use holders. Like maybe some of you don't like to do the soldering job. You can just put the one you saw the one you see in the middle. That's an pretty large size. And yeah, you can also buy a holder from Molex. It also puts on our seal sink. Yeah.
And also we like the design. Do you have feedback from the customer with regards to this round design?
Closing. They felt there is not going to be a good airflow. What is your answer on that?
Is it?
They think, why do you block the sides and why do you do the area? We said the area increases, so we're happy to close
Yeah,
that.
the area increases, that's one thing. You have extra small areas on the side. When you tilt, it's a little bit worse because you block a little bit of the air, but on the vertical position, air wants to go up, so you have just more surface. Second thing is, don't underestimate, it has only made a little bit of effect, but it really works. Where is my... What we actually create also here is a kind of chimneys. Hot air,
That is not there, the chimney will work.
hot air, or the aluminium is hot, it gives the heat to the air in between, and hot air wants to rise. What you get in this half-closed environment is that this hot air pushes the air up, and you get a kind of chimney effect from the height, what gives extra cooling at that moment. It doesn't just get out, it wants to rise anyway. And that chimney effect is a small effect, but it works.
The problem with this modular 1998 is for application track light have problem.
Track light is angle.
Yeah.
And
That's track light, that's not track light.
yes, but
That's expensive.
but with LSB 1998,
Yeah?
with application is track light, it's very good.
Yeah, indeed. The heat sinks we produce for Oxycato, because we needed a big range, otherwise you're not there, we actually just make base plates, and these base plates together with thermal tape, we screw together. That's the, maybe you can, Charlie, can you get a few LSBs over there? So those were already existing molds what we had for Oxycato, so it was very easy to go from that to what we call our LSB from base plate series. Maybe the big one. It's not thermally ideal because you have actually a thermal interface already, but it's good enough. Also, we have made a lot of bigger base plates here. The bigger base plate makes that it conducts more easy and spreads more easy the heat out before we go to the fins.
What is it? Thermal interface is not good. I mean, it's welded to the plate.
It's two pieces.
It's two pieces put together. Everything of two pieces, what you put together, you lose.
Something
You lose something. So here you're going to have some thermal resistance of about 0.2 degrees Celsius per watt in between. But, like you said, George, much better under vertical positioning. Certainly the big ones, what is the big kind?
Yeah.
Now, the bigger we go, like diameter 99, even diameter 134, the more open the fin structure is at the end, and the easier or the better cooling you're going to have under a vertical position.
Further to that, before we go into our extras, yeah, we also have active coolings which we use, make use of our modulates. Basically, we just put a fan on top of that. It's a fan of RPM of 1500. Yeah. And this gives really good RTH. For example, for ICF 450, the RTH is 0.58 only. Yeah. And we have a longer version, that's the 550. That, the difference in RTH is 0.12, so this one is 0.46. Performs really well, but some customers are still not liking to accept active cooling because they are scared the fan might break.
The fan is pretty good. We will report in about 3 weeks a full L10 report with all the details and all the hours of testing. performs pretty good. You will see that the MTTF is going to be something like 400,000 hours, and the verified L10 lifetime at an ambient of 40 degrees is 61,000 hours.
MTT,
Mean time to failure.
MTP.
Between
Same.
Oh, okay.
MTTF and DDF is exactly the same thing.
And this fan is really quiet because we have got two samples running up and running in the back. You can't actually hear any noise from like 1 meter away from your hand.
Yep. Still, we publish at 21 dB. You will get remarks from customers who say, oh, but the PAPS, for example, the EBM PAPS also came out with some solution recently. The EBM PAPS is more quiet, as indeed it is. We are about 13, 14 dB, we are at 21. 21 dB, if you put it about 10 centimeters from your ear, you hear it. But we did quite a big project in France with an awful lot of islets in there. I was afraid, really, the first time when I went there, I thought like, I hope I'm not going to hear it. You don't hear it. The thing is, sound also dies. Sound doesn't travel forever. And at the meter, it's 21 dB. So that's about a meter thing. It's 21 dB. But also the next light is not here. The next light is there, or there. So all these traveling distances to each other, it doesn't add up too much. Thing of using a normal fan, this fan was actually originally designed to do 3000 RPM. And what we did during the design is we just brought it down until we had a noise level of 21. And then we said, now we hope we still have enough air pressure to reach a good cooling. That works. That works. Only negative point, diameter 99. It's quite big. You will hear customers who say, the Suno is already 87, yours is 99. It's quite big because the COB, the reflector, then here they put some turning point. Here the 99 is nothing, but if they make a hole and it sticks in there, yeah, tilting wise you can't move too much. So for tilting spotlights and downlights, you're going to get remarks that say it's too big.
Let's use the sample.
Can we go to the previous slide?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so these are the objections that we get from customers on this. So L10. L10 means 10% of failure of a product.
Yep.
So we are expecting 10% of the product to fail at 61,000 hours. So if I install 100 pieces, 10 pieces will fail at the 61,000 hours.
Same like you heard before from Chris.
Sorry?
At 40 degrees
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
ambient,
just
actually ambient is
I will
45.
give the answer.
Okay.
L10 is a measurement system or a calculation system. Same like Chris explained with his LM80. It's a calculation system and the LM21 is just a deviation of it. Is that correct? No, but there isn't. I give 5 years warranty and I have to do my calculations according to some kind of standard. And the most common standard in fans at the moment is L10. That doesn't mean 10% is going to fail, not at all. We didn't get a single failure. But you only test for a certain amount of hours, you get 0 failures, and then this calculation method says, this is what you get. So, indeed, if you take it pure from the definition, this would mean 10% would fail after 60,000 hours. That would be disastrous. Because the next question would be, how much fail after 30,000 hours? One downlight who breaks down in the supermarket means the technician has to go up there, hire some stuff to get 7 meters up, take the stuff out, costs some.
Okay, then the next objection we get is, okay, the dB is 21 dB, but when it accumulates dust on it, does the dB increase?
No. Not with the fan. Not because there's a dust cap designed inside, not with this fan. You do hear a lot of increase, for example, with the vibration system from the Ventix. What happens with the vibration system from the Ventix is that it's a membrane like a drum. Do you know why anybody plays drum? No musicians. Who sings? Nobody. Those guys, if they play drum, what do you have to do once in a while? You have to turn this thing on. Why do you turn this on? Because this vibrating thing is getting loose. And the looser it gets, the different the sound is getting. And then they put it up again and sound is higher. With the vent exchanger is exactly the same thing. They did in Carrefour quite big test with the Ventix. Noise level in the beginning was just acceptable. 6 months later the noise level was already 8 dB higher. And that was becoming really annoying. So don't worry too much with regards to simple dust. For the rest, no IPDB for water. So not for outdoor use, only for indoor use. So there's no IP.
IP is okay, but
Y number.
So for pneumatics, you say it will go up by 8 dBs around there.
Yeah.
But in this fan's case, no.
No. Stay stable. Stay stable.
Even if it collects dust.
Sorry?
Even if it collects dust.
Yeah. Vertical position tested, eh? If
Yeah,
you
only vertical, it's okay.
be careful maybe with upside down mounting, because then you're going to collect more. The good thing of dust is most of the time the active coolers are used for recessed downlighters, where the downlight is in the ceiling. Most of those ceilings are not like this, but are these construction plates. You know what I mean?
2x4.
Yeah, 2x4 plates. The 2x4 plates, did you ever lift up such a plate?
Always possible.
It's horrible, eh? If you take the plate out, it's all the dust and is falling out. But the good thing is that this fan blows actually downwards. So it collects stuff from the inside and it blows downside. The only thing what your designers, your customers have to be aware of is if they design the reflector here and all the stuff, they have to leave some openings in their collar, in their front collar, also to get the air out, otherwise the air will just blow in again, but also to get dust out. When you put it in the ceiling, it actually collects some dust from just in the surroundings because it sucks. It sucks some dust up, or if some dust would circulate, and it blows it downwards. But it blows it just out.
A cleaner.
It's a cleaner, it's a vacuum actually. It's a cheap vacuum machine. But that is what it does actually. Xicato did a
So
lot.
now you sell it as a vacuum cleaner.
Sorry, Koen, when you say the reflector, they have to put some holes.
Yeah, the main mistake what you see in active cooling designs when you're not used to design, try to make a small sketch. Don't laugh because I can't laugh, it's this job. If you look from the downside, this is the reflector. This is the inside. They make a collar, some metal plate or whatever, around the reflector. And many people close this off, but actually they have to make some openings here, so that if you look at it from the side, you have the fan, takes the air in, you have the heatsink, you have the deflector. The air what blows here through must be able somewhere to get out, either here or here on the side, doesn't matter. It must be able to get out. If the air can't get out, and this is a closed area, it will just like start circulating in your design. First thing what you get is audible noise because of circulating air. Secondly, where is this hot air going? It can only escape back over here somewhere because everything is closed off. So either openings here, or nice ones, doesn't matter, or somewhere here on the side, it also works. That's idea clear?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, then the isolate ultra. What difference do you see here if you compare to our isolate 450 or 550? Can you see any difference?
Height.
What's the difference? What's it?
The height.
The height. Okay. Yeah, it's actually the height. We just took our modulate 9980. No, I'm sorry, modulate 9950, and we put fan here. So the height becomes bigger, and also the fan speed is 3000 RPM. Yeah. So this pulse is only gives an RTH of 0.25 only.
The idea was opposite. We didn't start from the idea of sound. The idea from sound 21 came from the usage in indoor environments where you say sound is important. Here, the idea was what can I get for cooling performance. Using an existing model, just adding up to the quantity again, fan on it, then turning up, more speed, more speed, more speed. Also, with Norbert calculating how much speed should we get, because it's not necessary to make 5000 RPM, because in the same cooler, sometimes the cooling performance is not really getting better anymore. There is something like an ideal point. Also with this, if I would make the heatsink longer, it wouldn't cool anymore. You know why? Because there's not enough air pressure for something which is longer than this. So, in the beginning we decided to make a 650, I think, with the same fan. Didn't work. The 650 was worse than a 550, just because of the airflow was not enough anymore, so you don't actually cool down. So that was the Ultra, 0.25. Commercially, the reason why we did it is because Vossloh Schwabe came out with Luga Industrial. Citizen, one of the partners, had their CLL 050s and 052s. Bloody lot of power in there. So we needed something to go to the upper range. We were a little bit skeptic about it, but sells like hell. We just launched it, sells like hell. A lot of designs and high quantity designs, because a lot of these high bay guys and big floodlight guys, they really make nice quantities, really thousands and thousands of pieces. So quite interesting market.
Yeah, we have a sample there.
I have a question on this fan. Of course, the fan also needs electrical power. So, what is the effect of cleanliness of the electrical power to the fan and the life of the fan?
Cleanliness?
Because it has ripples, does the fan get affected?
No, a fan is actually, this is a double steel ball bearing fan, has a technology inside. So double bearings, an inner bearing and an outer bearing with steel balls. Disadvantage of steel balls is more sound than, for example, a sleeve, but much better resistant to dust. But a fan as a technology is really not very sensitive. You can even put 6 volts on it, 8 volts, you can put spikes on it. It's not EMI, it's creating EMI of course, it's creating noise, but it's not really noise sensitive. The immunity level of a fan is...
When the voltage changes, does the speed change and the cooling capacity change, right?
Yeah, of course. But it doesn't matter too much if you drive it at 9 volt or 10 volt, it still works. Even spikes on it doesn't do anything. Just, yeah, of course, your speed is changing, so your cooling capacity is changing. That's really it.
Is it the same fan for the Max and the Ultra, or is it a different version?
It's the same fan with regards to blade design and mechanical design, but the motor chip inside is different. Also because we have to drive same voltage, 12 volt, but at higher speed. So it's just the chip design, board design internally, which is different. The rest is exactly
There's a board inside, is it?
under the dust cover, you have a small PCB with a driver, and that's a different driver.
The fan is 1 point something watts.
Depends on the speed you drive. For the 1500 RPM for the normal isolets, it consumes around 1.5. Yeah, about 1 point. No, less. 0.5. 0.5 watts. This one consumes around 2.6 watts. Be careful with that. Some manufacturers of drivers, they make these special drivers with 2 outputs. One with constant current for your UD, one with 12 volt for the fan. Look carefully in the maximum power, what you can get out of the 12 volt. Because a lot of those power supplies are limited to, for example, 1 or 2 watts only, what you can take out of the channel. You're going to put a 2.7, 2.8 watts fan on it, and it doesn't work. Or it works, it's even worse, but it drives slower. You think you're going to get 0.25 degrees Celsius per watt, and you get 0.4. Vossloh Schwabe, they made their own driver for that high bay LED, but the channel can only do 2 watts. They test, it runs, they say, oh, everything is fine. Ah, yeah, but your performance is not like your data sheet. Yeah, okay. You didn't get 3 watts of foot, only 2 watts of foot. Okay. So it's a niche market, and we really speak about the upper parts of the citizens and the upper parts now of the new powers which are coming out also at Edison, or the upper part of the bridge lux RS. Be careful with the noise. This is not for living room conditions. You can hear him later there in the corner, 39 dB. 39 dB is not for the living room. It's not yet like this. This is about 40 something dB. But it's not for living room environment. This is for highways and industrial stuff. Good thing about it is that same fan, high quantities already, same extrusion, model at 9950. What's the result? Very low price. On this cooler, it's bloody low priced. We might raise the price because we get too much complaints from the people that they don't believe us. No, it is. It's quite cheap. And if you compare this with the rest what's on the market, they're all at least ×2 with the same cooling capacity. The cool straight costs 45 euro, 50 euro. A Sinjet with this capacity, that's the new Sinjet with the 3 blowers. Did you see that thing already? Like 3 blowers on the side. Also 40, 50 euro. Of course, then they say yes, but you can drive it in silent mode. Yeah, but if you drive it in silent mode, they forget to say you only have half of the cooling capacity. Okay.
It's the extra group. A couple of months ago, we produced this extra thing. From the look, it's similar to our modular in ISEC, but it actually has different mountings. So this group here, you can use it for different types of COBs, like for example GE. But you have to be careful because with our first generation of modular in ISEC, it's all M3s. But with this extra series, sometimes you need to use M4 self-tapping screws, like for GE Infusion. Yeah, that's to mount the collar, and after you mount the collar, you can also mount the module and just twist and turn. Okay, and you can see some extra partners from the list. You also can use Luxford and Phillips luminaires. And okay, and another thing is that for Edison's Edilex, on our first generation, you can't actually mount the reflector rings perfectly because the holes were not designed for the reflector rings. But on this one, it's got 5 holes, two are for Zaga, 35 and 3, and on diameter of 42, you can mount the reflector rings. Yeah. And yeah, all the 8 power 2 packages were not 14 yet. That's a bit complicated. And yeah, on this extra piston, we also foresee some Zaga standards like Book 2, Book 6, and yeah, and you can also
maybe we can go in detail through the data sheet because you will see it's the front look is still the same, but it's a completely different approach what we do in this data sheet.
And
the beginning stays the same. Just some features.
I know Oppo has bought quite a few modulates from MechaTronix, and did you get any complaints like the customers don't know how to mount? They couldn't find the holes, I know that.
Yeah. Even with the chart,
yeah.
Because you get the reference like the one with the pin, but it has to be the right one. So you just put it up. You think it's this one.
Yeah.
You find a hole, but then it's not that one. Then you twist this and try.
That's why we with this generation we put an extra group on one of the things as the 0 mark. So you can it's extra the things.
Sorry.
Yeah. So on the extra kissing, you're going to see a groove here. It's used as our 0 point mark. So we can also produce some flip charts, which you can just put on top of it. You don't have to turn it to find like which Which one is it? 01?
On the side of
That's
one
much
brick,
easier.
we put here a vertical groove.
Okay.
And the vertical groove on the data sheet always sits up.
Okay. I didn't know that.
No. That's new, eh?
That's new.
That's new. It's just launched. We're probably also going to change that on the old modulets for the same reason. Much easier for the people to visually know, okay, that's my 0 point and there should I mount it.
Otherwise, you need to try and when you play
This one is
the
the first
COB,
generation, which
you have
we
to
don't
ask
again
for
with
reference, so it's like
So it should be digital.
looks like it's
Well, we were
really
discussing
true,
that
but then the second one you even see it, but it's not the right one. It's very close
There's
one.
a good chart, but you
And then you think
tend to see like which
The flip chart has that?
And but we're thinking of changing, also doing some more modification on the first generations to add 0 point, which you can identify very easily.
I suggest it, guys, because it's quite important that you understand the new style of data sheets, because also the old data sheets are going to be like this in the future. If you go to the mounting options here, the first blue section, then you see on the left-hand side, you see Zaga Book 2, socketable LED engines. For example, Mega Mantico, Philips Fortimo TDLM, Tridonic Talax, DLE. What is this? This is an existing Zaga book, but not Zaga Book 3. Everybody says my module is Zaga, but what is Zaga? Zaga has 9 books. 9 different books of totally different stuff. All the other stuff what we had was Zaga Book 3. 2 mounting holes, 35mm. First one here is Zaga Book 2. 3 mounting holes actually, and a big collar, like, Charlie, can you get some Zaga stuff up here? In the back, the 2 on the right side. A big collar, like a plastic holder, and there you have the module, and you just press the module down and click. That was the first standard actually which Zaga developed long time ago. Doesn't sell in an awful lot of quantities, but because it doesn't sell in an awful lot of quantities, not many people use these words to promote. And it's Tridonic and Philips and Megaman. So I had space, so we made the holes up there, because it's quite nice promotion. But quantity-wise, you will not see so many projects using Zaga Book 2. But those who are using it, they are not price sensitive. That's the kind of holder. This is, okay, another book, but it's the same idea. This kind of holder, and then actually the module just slides in and goes. But not price sensitive at all, because people who work already with an LED module like this, it's bloody expensive. Those are modules from 30, 40 euro per module for the LED and the holder together. So they don't care to pay either 3 or 4 euro for a heatsink. But nothing too much standard available. Then on the right-hand side, on the first mounting page, you see Zaga Book 3, the famous one which we all know. Plus there's 3 extra holes in red. That's for the Edelx ring. So on the old modulet for the Edison people, on the old modulet, you didn't have these 3 holes for the Edison ring. On the new one, they are foreseen immediately in the modulet. Then on the next page, on the left, you see Zaga Book 5. Almost the same than Zaga Book 2. But we made this one because GE knocked on our door about 2 months ago, probably 3 months. GE knocked on our door and they said, listen guys, we're going to come out with a new 4500 lumen model, and we don't have anything standard on the market. And they asked us, if you guys make something for us, we will promote you. So all the GE infusions, starting from 1000 to 4000 lumen, fits on the Extra series. Modulet Extra, iStat Extra, it all fits. Below that, Zaga Book 6, again, similar kind of thing. Also this click and turn thing. Same like the Book 2, same like the Book 5, only other dimensions from Zaga. And this, at this moment there is only one LED module, that's Toshiba. The E-Core from Toshiba. Why we put it up? Yeah, because maybe next year we don't know what to do anymore, so we can start talking with Toshiba. That's the only reason. Then we start with Edison. Edison is 2 pages of everything what fits out. Of course, the first one, the SDs. SDs 15 and 24 fit HSHV. 15 and 24 fits HR 13, HR 24, HR 35. But there you see something special. Can you look at this side of the page, please? So under Edison, under the big list of Edison, on the right-hand side, do you see that on the bottom, or also on the top picture, you can actually mount the module in 2 kinds of way. Because you have corner holes, but you also have side holes. Those side holes on the top and the bottom, the green ones, every green dot means Zaga in our book from now on. If you see the green dots here and here, this is not a Zaga module, but by accident those are on 35 millimeter. Pure accidental, they didn't know. But that's a good accident, because if this is 35 millimeter, that means that they fit actually on every Zaga heatsink. So that's why we illustrate this here, that you also get the idea. You would be surprised how many accidents there are with these mounting patterns. That they luckily are just the same. Then bridge locks. Why bridge locks? Yeah, we had bridge locks already for the ES and the RS arrays. Bridge locks came up with the Vero. And not too many heatsinks are developed yet, because the Vero is quite new. So we're going to be one of the first ones with standard heatsinks for all the Veros. Everybody knows the Veros? Bridge locks Vero? No? Big circle. A lot of mechanical holes and stuff in there. Also for special reflectors and optics immediately on there. Quite interesting. Quite interesting web modules, a little bit expensive, but they fit. Then the next page, a new partner, Lustrous. Lustrous is also a Taiwanese company. They approached us a month or 2 ago, and they say, nobody think about us. Tears in the eyes. Tears in the eyes. So 4 mounting holes for this series of X5, DX5, DX5, XL5. Then ProLight Opto, but this time for the PA-BA series. The PA-BA series is their widest series, goes all the way from 10 to 50 watts, and they fit all on the whole extra series. Then we have Philips Lumileds, 1204, 1205, 1208. The new package from Philips Lumileds. All fits in 2 ways. Either the red dots are for direct mounting, the green dots are for Zaga mounting with the special Zaga LED holder. Also the same, Luxion K12 and K16 also fits on it with the Zaga holder. That's also a new holder from BGB. And then Vossloh Schwabe. Of course the Luga shops fit because that's Zaga Book 3. And then the new Vossloh Schwabe Luga Industrial. Of course, you guys are all thermal experts. Don't forget, it's not because it fits that it cools enough. Don't forget that. Don't make the mistake like, oh, I can put the Vossloh Schwabe Luga Industrial on the modelet. Yes, yes, if you dim it at 80%. But if you want to cool this bastard down at 10,000 lumen, you're going to need an ice LED Ultra. And then BGB came up with something. BGB already had a lot of these Zaga trees, but they said the market was responding that for smaller lumen packages, and the LES area is always getting smaller and smaller recently. And for this very small LES areas, this big 50mm holder was a little bit uncomfortable. So they decided to make new holders where the diameter is much smaller and the mounting points are at 25 millimeter. Luckily, we were an eco partner from BGB. They told us already 4 months ago, guys, remember we're going to come with stuff of 25 millimeter. So 2 holes, please. And that's the 2 holes what we explained at the last overview page here. Thanks to that information, you can mount a lot of crease on there. CX813, CX81507, 1512, Lagstar Cup Nimbus, Osram Cup Solarix, it all fits with these new holders. So to understand the Modulate Extra and the iStat Extra, how many LED modules do you have to remember?
1, 2.
Yeah. You are going to the market, and the easiest way would be that they say, oh, I'm going to use this LED. Okay. I'm going to use this LED. Okay. But you have to know it's okay or not okay. So it's quite a lot of models, and you can feel it. Our data sheets went from 2 pages to it's going to be expensive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 pages.
Not I got more.
Yeah. On the other hand, we should not make it too complex also. You can put endless amount of holes on it.
I would say always,
It fits.
we can make.
On one condition, you have to think about the new commercial name, because we are stuck after Modulate, Modulate Extra, Modulate Ultra, Modulate Nano, Modulate Pico, and then I don't know.
And the MechaTronix prepare many holes for many LED packages, but in Korea, if we want to pass that Korean safe standard, we should using that holder. So actually, we need more holder for adapter holder, not LED packages. So,
Yeah.
you already make a hole for BaDe or Tyco,
Yep.
but actually Helen usually use Molex, so we need more hole for Molex holder.
That's painful.
Yes.
That's very painful. The only reason why at this moment we don't put Molex holders on them is because I don't like them. That's the only reason. I'm not joking. I contacted them 6 times. I explained the whole idea. I said, guys, you just have to give me a little bit of information, that's all I'm asking, and 2 samples. And we put you on all our stuff.
You're not the only person who had the problem.
Well,
I had that as well.
yeah, you know when? You know when
wouldn't
Molex
sell the
came?
product, I don't know why.
When was it? 3, 4, 5 weeks ago? When you guys saw them? Can we please come to visit you? I say, yeah, now you are too late. Yeah, but I know it's, there is a big market, and Molex is still bigger than Taiko and BGB, but in the next series.
Okay.
But they first have to kiss up.
It is better way to Helen change to another.
But actually, Molex is also making more and more Zaga holders at the moment. That fits it.
All right.
But I know the special ones. Okay. Step by step. This is already all finished products. The extra, by the way, is available from now on. The whole family. The stock is just produced. We still hope they fit in the warehouse. So be quickly, because we don't have enough space. Okay. Yeah, by the way, one last thing for the extra, the data sheets already. You all got an email normally 1 day or 2 days ago from Natalie. Newsflashes are going to be produced somewhere next week. Content also somewhere next week, everything on the website. But the dedicated, this is a full data sheet. This data sheet we have to make now, dedicated for Richlux, Citizen, Edison, GE, Lustrous, Philips, Philips Lumileds, ProLight, Opto, Tridonic and Vossloh-Schwalbe. Because they don't want us in their data sheet to talk about the other brands.
Yeah.
So this is the general data sheet, you can use it already. Don't wait for selling it, no problem, you can use this one. But it's gonna take us a few more weeks because we have to make about 10 extra versions with dedicated content.
And just by the way, for how I said extra, you know, we didn't include extra 450 because the RDH is so similar, so we just dropped it this time.
Just to use a little bit of models.
Right, then there's the nano. The nano.
I have another problem. Basically, if you go back, yeah. You see, there are some LEDs which have a screw right in the middle of the LED, so that's not a problem. You put a washer and the screw is okay. But if there is the mounting is going to be on the side, okay, if you can imagine the screw and then the washer.
Yeah.
So if you see this vertical alignment, on one side there's the LED, everything, on the other side there's nothing. So the washer has to go slanting. And some people have overcome with a half washer, that means half filled with metal and a washer. And so that means the screw will stand straight, not tilt the head. So are you coming up with this type of washers or something to fit? Otherwise, the washer is not, the screw is not standing straight.
Yeah, I understand. I understand the problem indeed. If you need screws, guys, you are in Kaohsiung. Just take
The
the
screw
extra.
is okay, the washer is the problem,
Yeah?
the half washer.
No, not really from our side. We have made a few, or we have bought a few screws actually in a few different lengths, but it's so many varieties, you know. We get all kind of questions. You have no idea. I probably have already 20 different lengths only. What people ask in different heads, in different this and different that. But there is enough on the market, I think. No?
No, there is no such as washer available. You understand the problem? The one side has the LED, the body of the LED, the other side there's nothing. So you're going to have a screw with something on the one side and nothing on the other side. And so the screw wants to fit.
Yeah.
Actually, they
Send me an
come
email.
by.
Do me a favor, send me an email that I don't forget it, I have to look in that.
So actually, one guy has designed by himself a half washer. So it has it fills the cap, then a washer in the ear, but all in one piece.
Can you send me a small hand sketch? Make a small hand sketch that I get the idea of the half washer. I'll look into it.
I know
But it's pretty cheap to make screws over here.
Yeah, it's cheap to make, but if one guy is buying just 1,000 pieces to make this, it's difficult.
Yeah, of course, of course. Okay. What the nano stands for? Why did we make the nano? We did a lot now for the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,000 lumen market, but not too much yet for the middle market. So we need to extend our program and making more stuff for what we call the middle power. That's, let's say, the 800 to the 2,200 lumen market. We stay in the same look and feels as the modulate and the modulate extra. The same idea of the self-tapping screws, but low market price due to a concept again, no CNC afterwork, just extruding kilometers. And also because the time to market will be much shorter. What we have already on partners now. On Distributor network, or eco-partner network. So new models, what we bring up now, will go much faster, adapted to the market, accepted in the market.
Yeah, I just handed down some samples. As you can see, it's a smaller one than the one we had, the modulates. The diameter of this one is 70, so it's not too big, and the height, say, 50 and 80. And on this module, you also have a 0 point. That's a group which you can use to identify your positions very easily. And samples are available now, but it's going to be the end of November or the beginning of December that we can have our mass production ready.
Yeah. We still have to, the molds are just finished. We just did an extrusion run a few days ago. So these are still a little bit hot. We still have to fine-tune a little bit.
Yes.
Ken is doing all the mechanical fitting testing now to have a good fitting of all the modules. We still have to do some fine-tuning, probably another week or two, and then about 6 weeks to start up or to have all the mass productions ready. So, but at least you know that it's coming, you know when it's coming, so if you see projects already for it, availability somewhere beginning of December. Also, the thermal validations still have to be done, but he promised me he will do it this evening. Yeah, and then the rest of all the eco partner validation, December, January. What fits on there?
Yeah, like the other series, you can see lots of COBs also put on this hissing. Actually, we saw like some COBs are not really the same in sizes, but they are so similar, so we just combine it all together. It's only a 0.0 millimeters different. Yeah. And yeah, like we always include Part3 and plus ADLX reflector ring now. Okay, and the next one is BridgeLux ESR, which is also same as like Perlight, and also Citizens 030 and 032, Edison's 80 power 2. It's compatible with Citizens and 030.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you understand the idea? They are not the same size in COB, or not the same size in like ADLX module or LED module, but their mounting holes of the BridgeLux ESR, the rectangular BridgeLux ES, is exactly the same actually as the small HM30s, and exactly the same like the CRL30. So you can't fit. It's not like they have exactly the same outer dimensions. It's only the mounting holes which are the same.
Yeah, BridgeLux 013 and 18, which is similar to Philips Luminets 1204, 1205, and 1208. They might not be the same in sizes, but like Koen just said, the mounting holes are like almost on the same positions. Yeah. And BridgeLux 010, compatible to 80 power 2, HM16, and Citizens CLL 020. Yeah. So you can, on the same position and the same mounting hole, you can actually replace any 3 of them. Yeah. And also power 2 HD series and HR13.
Yeah. And last part of them, the VGD concept again for a small holder, like we discussed before. LG Inotech, that's new.
Yeah, that's new.
Yeah. LG also came up asking for the PKG series. That's brand new.
Yeah, it came like 1 or 2 months ago, so that's quite new.
And this one also, the PANA control light, that's also new, and that's compatible with the Nichia. But be careful with the Nichias, because within their families, they all name the same, like NSCs with the number or NSB with the number. But it's only for this 19 x 16 millimeter package, because they have a lot of different packages.
Yeah, the last one is Scaldo. That's one of our first eco partners. So we always include them.
Yeah. So there's again a lot of modules, but actually if you look to how many pitches that we have, that's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pitches only. So the heatsink on itself is not that complex for mounting, but because of these similarities, it still gives you an awful lot of sweating heatsinks.
The final one is Pico. Pico is still in design stage. Developing it now, but we don't have any samples. I can show some 3D prototype on it.
So the Pico is going to be probably the smallest one we make in this family. That's a 50 millimeter. And then with the same, again, same idea. Any questions up to now for Modulet? Any questions for Modulet?
How's the flatness? How much accuracy?
0.05. 0.05.
Compared to competitors, is there any difference or not?
Depends how they cut. Maybe a small thing indeed before you start up. LEDs for this kind of round stuff is always mounted here. What is this side? This is the cutting side. In extrusion direction, this is the extrusion direction. It's very easy to make a very good flatness. But the cutting side, where you put actually your LED, this must be perfectly flat. A lot of manufacturers who don't come from the thermal world, they are just extrusion guys or cutting guys or whatever. They have no idea about this. This is #1 mistake what we see in the market. People ask a quotation here, there, they say, this extrusion guy has a good price and place my bill there. Then they get the heat sinks, still okay, looks good. No problem, looks good. They mount their stuff, and 1 year later, suddenly 4,000 LEDs are popping. Simply because they just use cutting machines. Zoom, zoom, zoom. But with the cutting machine, your flatness is only something like 0.3 millimeter. You don't see it with your bare eye. But 0.3 millimeter, if you put your LED up there, it's not really well sticking. You have a lot of air gaps below it. You would be surprised if you look with a microscope. Maybe that you only have 30,
The surface.
yeah, 30–40% is not contacting for sure.
Even if you are using glue,
Yeah, but
the taste.
how big do you want your glue or your paste? If I use thermal tape, I only use 0.1 or 0.14. Because the thicker you go, the more resistance you have. So that's problem #1, what we see with customers shopping around and not having respect for the flatness. What we do is CNC cutting. So we cut, and it's actually going together with CNC. So it's a totally different process, and then you have a flatness of 0.05 millimeter. And that's ideal with the 0.05 millimeter flatness. You just need a little bit of grease or a very tiny thermal pad and perfect connection.
Why don't we add this information on the data sheets? Why don't we add this information on the data sheets? How do you know what buttons you have?
It would be interesting to compare with the other manufacturers.
Really on the data sheet you get a lot of information for what products it is, but when you look for the information technical,
Yeah.
it's so small, you know, it's like,
Yeah, it is
so
actually.
I think the more details we can put it, especially if it's positive, then I think it's important, you know. No, information is always good.
Yeah. Actually, again, you can put that in the drawing and dimensions.
In the comparison?
In the drawing and dimensions, you can make like an indicator flatness, and you can put text over here with Natalie, which says like flatness 0.05 millimeters.
And
This
suggest
would be
the thickness for the interface and so on.
That's on there already.
That should be in there now.
I've seen that.
Yeah. Here. To determine, MechaTronix recommends the use of high thermal conductive interface between LEDs, either thermal with thermal pads. Recommended thickness 0.1, 0.50.
Also in the old one?
No, I have to remake the old ones. So after the nano and the pico data sheets are ready and the 20 pico sheets, then we remake all the old specs.
It's going to be next year, early next year.
But I know you have a lot of free time, so maybe you can start already doing something with that.
Okay, we will discuss my salary.
Spanish or
For mine? Should be. Did we say it on this call? Yeah, we don't have the eavesdropping immediately, but we are about halfway. About half of the holes are filled up now, I think.
Yeah, 1.5. This design is going to be finished in 2 weeks' time, and after that, I'll do some validations and we will drop more. Hopefully, we can get singles by for the end of this year.
Don't promise too much.
Right, so I said hopefully.
We work both together tonight.
February.
Trying to yeah, it's kind of easier.
But I think the idea is clear. You will see what we put up, and it's mainly just the lower range of everything what we have already. Like a video can, for example, or the small Luxion.
And that's a very price sensitive market. No problem.
Yeah. Yeah. This is going to be something approximately something like €1. You can make it more expensive.
There is any difference of bottom side or top side? It's same even surface,
Yeah.
right?
Correct. Yeah, it's two sides polished. Then the big question.
Standard color remains the black one, and
No,
the
we
silver,
decided to make everything in black and clear, automatically.
no more minimum order quantity for the clear.
For the new products, everything what we make now is black and clear, because clear actually is getting very popular recently.
Yes, that's it.
It looks high-end.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's good. It's good for sales.
So all module LED is now possible to order here as a standard or
Capital
or
John. Everything is already from stock and clear. Modulets available. Modulet 9950, 9980, extra 9950, extra 9980. Everything is clear, right? Yeah. Same for the nano, same for the picos, always two colors.
so in the part number where do we put the color? The P
We change dash B to dash C.
Here in number 2. So it's going to be modulet, extra for example, 9950, dash B, dash C, depends on what you need. If you don't put anything, we just see what we have in stock.
Green.
Green ones, okay. Okay, last point, open question. What should we develop next? We have made prototypes already of the ice pipe, 4 heat pipes, base plate, some stack fins. Maybe stack fin coolers for the minimal HPG.
Yes.
Expensive. 150 watts. This is the bigger one already, 150 watts. 150 watts of LED over there. Needs a lot of, and a passive. They would like to see a passive cooling developed. Can do it, That's expensive design.
yeah about active. Let's do some mechanical part to put ice LED only there in between.
Yeah, but the problem is that they made 3 models now. And long time ago when we made together with me the design plan, I told them, make sure for the extra power levels you just change only the height. But they misunderstood. And
So they
made
only changed
3 different diameters. I'm not joking, they changed only this.
Your Taiwanese, you have to improve.
Yeah, but now that means that all these multi-modes, and the idea here of the HBG, it's a driver, right? It's not a heatsink.
Yes.
It's a driver inside with an aluminium die casting round with 4 mounting options, where you can directly screw. This is just a big nut, actually, with tapping M5 or something in it, that you can immediately put chain upstairs. But here you need a big heatsink. I think you know it. You need a big heatsink to cool it down.
Need to be natural, or can we also work with fans?
Preferable no fans. In this market for high base, preferable no fans. No. You can do it, but then you have to go for an ultra.
Yeah, with some kind of
But if you make something custom for this, it must be some fanless stuff. Maybe with heat pipes or something, I don't know. You know, yeah.
height.
Maybe we have to develop something for more linear stuff. Like you have the Zaga book 4, Zaga book 7. I think you also have some linear Zagas.
Yeah. PLCC ones.
Yeah. Sounds well?
Pretty nice.
Yeah? How much?
Confidential.
Yeah?
What is the end application of this?
Office lights.
Office? What's the power like for this?
Panel lights.
Which one? Is it electron or
Electron.
Zaga.
Yeah, Zaga book 4. Power level? Oh, lumens level.
No. No idea. I don't make LEDs, only aluminium.
But I don't know, I haven't come across an application.
We see them more and more, and in very various stuff. People want to make like this small outdoor lighting, where they want to put like 1 or 2 modules.
Or the floodlight.
Or yeah, floodlighting also a little bit. It's quite popular. Have you guys ever, are there already standard heat sinks for this stuff?
No, in this case, they put this, they are using the case for cooling. Because they are, 80% of those lamps, they are designer lamps.
Okay.
No, not only outdoor. And outdoor also they are using the case for.
Yeah, indeed. We also don't know yet, like, is this a market or not? We have to find it out. We get requests recently, like Vossler Schwaber asked us to make something, because they start to make stuff like this.
Zaga 4.
I think Saga 4, yeah, in quite high power recently. They want to do some, I think 4,000, 6,000 and 8,000 lumen packages now. And they asked us if we could produce something standard, but didn't study yet. I don't know. We will have to finish now first the Pico, plus a few customs we still have to do. And after that we are open for your ideas actually.
So what is your plan on this one?
No,
I'm interested in this.
Difficult one, I think. Difficult one in the way, not for production, that it doesn't have a very clear market. It's not meat, it's not fish, it's something in the middle.
Lower weight, isn't it?
And if you see with something like this, the more lumens those guys put in their package, the smaller my heat sinks are going to be. This heat sink only 2 years ago would be for a 2000 lumen. Now this heat sink is for a 4000 lumen in the newest packages. Maybe next year this is already for a 6000 lumen. So everything is going more lumens per watt. So less cooling needed, it's normal. On the other hand, once you go over a certain power level, people accept people who design 10,000 lumen luminaires. Either they use a very big die casting or something is also like street lighting die casting, or they accept active cooling. And this thing, the performance, what we can get out of here, without fan of course, passively, is going to be something like 70, let's say 70 watts. If it's well designed,
Yeah.
70 watts probably, 70, 75 watts. I don't know. If we were sure that we would do at least, let's say, 10, 20,000 pieces, we would need to design this out. But it's quite expensive also to make the molds. This heatsink, to make it economically, has to be done by an automatic stacking machine. That means it's like a vertical punching machine, tack, 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 but by progressive die. So it starts with a plate going in, and then just step, 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 until you have this kind of thing, one plate, bended and everything, and then it has to go automatically stacked on those heat pipes. Otherwise, this would be, you can do by manual, but that's way too expensive. Market price for this should be something like 10, 12 euros. And that,
What the kind of luminaires that is going to use this kind of?
high bay and low bay mainly. mainly highway and low-bay. It has a market, but also for niche markets. For example, there are markets where people don't want to use reactive cooling, where there's high pollution degrees. In chemical plants, for example, in petrochemical plants, forget it that you're going to come in there with your classic active cooler. It's totally forbidden. X-proof environments. X-proof environments, whatever. There is a market, but it's a niche market. And the number of players in that niche market, up to now, they always make some custom cooling. So, if you see projects where you think, that's a reasonable project, this is what we need, design is actually ready, we can get this thing on the market in about 8 to 9 weeks time. So let us know. For the moment we're parking, because we're not sure that it's quite a big investment. We talk about 20,000 euro.
But maybe is this one potential solution for the minimum if you optimize?
Yeah. But that's a total new design for the HVG, because we need the specific mechanics. But we maybe can combine that. That's maybe a good idea, that we combine the HVG design with something we don't call HVG, but from the same molds. Okay,
give me a pointer, so
you know what to make now? Yeah.
Okay, so no, the previous one. You see, this will totally weigh about 3 to 4 kg at the bottom when you put a barrel there. So you need to have places to hook this up to a chain and go up. So you need to have provisions for such things, which I didn't find.
What was that?
When you finally put an LED here and you put a barrel in front of this connector, and then you have a driver here, then you need to put a chain to hook it up. So this is, you need provisions to hook them up.
Yeah.
You can hook it at this point and at this point. You can hook them up and you can hook it here. So you got to consider.
Yeah, correct, indeed. Yeah, we have to look indeed in the mechanics. That would be the flexible mechanics for either the HVG, but also for other luminaires.
Yeah.
That's with regards to safety also, I think. I think it's written somewhere in some normations.
And you got to have chain and another one and the two so you don't fall in the
Yeah, indeed. Okay. I think that's it for the development part. So thanks a lot again for assisting.